The most talked about topic on my channel, without doubt, is the brand Mizuno. My first ever video and review was of their current flagship suit, the GX Sonic 3. Now what a lot of people don't know is that in Japan they actually have a plethora of options and they have quite a diverse range of different tech suits. So when they released the GX Sonic 3 back in 2015, they actually released two slightly cheaper lineups for people on a budget. So underneath the GX Sonic, you had the MX Sonic, and then underneath that again, you had the FX Sonic. Today we're here to talk about the MX Sonic. It gets a lot more confusing and I could go into a lot more depth on their different ranges, but when they released the GX Sonic 3, they released the MX Sonic 02 at the same time. That has since been successful MX Sonic G3, which is not to be confused with what I'm reviewing today. But that's for another time. Today we have the MX Sonic. It's currently on huge discounts, maybe because it's been succeeded by the G3 version, maybe because Mizuno have a new flagship coming out, the GX Sonic 4 in 2019, or maybe just because it's not doing so well. But what I can say is I paid 4,000 Japanese yen for my one here, and it's down as cheap as about 2,800 Japanese yen at the moment. In Western terms, I think I paid 35 British pounds for this tech suit, which is absolutely ludicrous. There's no other suit I can get that cheap other than them Chinese Yingfa ones. Or it's even cheaper than them sort of not so worthwhile arena cheap models or Speedo cheap models that are really just training suits with a FINA approved tag. I have the suit right here, and as you can see, it definitely takes a lot of design cues from the flagship model. And when I've actually received this suit, I actually can't believe how much it shares in common. We're going to bring you over, and we're going to put it next to the flagship model just to show you what similarities they have and what differences there is.
So as you can see here, I have both the Mizuno suits. The current flagship and what I consider the best suit on the market, the GX Sonic 3 ST here, and then the much cheaper MX Sonic 02. Now as you can see right off the bat, they are very similar suits in terms of cut. When I wear them both, they sit a little higher on my waist. They're the sort of longer from groin to belly button design here, and they have exactly the same cuts in terms of where they finish on my quad. They have identical usage of material in terms of they use this Sonic Ribtex and this Sonic Light fabric. The GX Sonic 3 does use more of this Ribtex fabric that you can see here, so the proportions are slightly different, but the materials for the entire suit are identical. So the black that you see on the GX Sonic is their Sonic Light material, and that is used exactly the same here along the quad, and all of this black here. And then the Sonic's Ribtex material, which is used here on the crotch, and exactly the same here, the orange on the crotch there. And then on the GX Sonic, it is used entirely on the back of the suit, whereas there's a little bit less coverage of the Ribtex fabric, but still all this orange area here is that Sonic Ribtex fabric. A very obvious difference would be the use of seams. And as you can see, other than here on the GX Sonic, which is a stitch seam, everything is bonded seams on the more expensive model, and probably to cut costs, this has completely stitched seams, stitch seams, stitch seams, and stitch seams again on the back. I don't think this is a huge deal in terms of performance. Obviously I think the lower profile of bonded seams is much better, and I think it also helps create a tighter fit, and these do fit tighter. But what I think is the biggest issue with this is actually the durability of these stitch seams. I think bonded seams last for a long time, and unfortunately one of the girls I coach purchased one of these, and on putting on the suit it ripped immediately on one of the stitches, on one of the stitch areas, and not because it was too small, too tight, just because these stitches aren't as potentially durable as the bonded seams. So that is something to note when purchasing the suit. Another quick difference is the quality of waistband. This has slightly higher quality materials on the waistband. Again, like this almost bonded seam here compared to the stitch, but for the most part waistbands are pretty similar. And again, leg grippers, we have these silicone leg grippers on the GX Sonic, and we just have again some stitching and no silicone grippers on the MX Sonic. Not that this is a huge deal, this is obviously just a little bit more high quality. The biggest difference to me with these two suits would be what's going in on the back, and definitely one of the big bonuses of this Mizuno flagship is what goes on inside the suit. And the reason that these support you so much at the end of a race would be these two tapes down here that support your up kick, and also the fact that we have this double layer material. All at the back here is all double layer. I said a lot about this in my review of this, and it definitely traps a little bit of air in there, which definitely holds you higher in the water, making you more buoyant. Unfortunately, these are single layer everywhere except for the groin area, where it's like a double layer just for a bit of modesty, I think, more than anything. So we have, and again in a completely different method. But the rest of the way, this is a one-piece suit, so we're not going to get the same air trapping inside, and we don't have them taping. We do have stitches in the same place, and allegedly the stitches are also to help you upkick, but I can say when racing this suit you do not get that feeling in the slightest compared to what you get from these tapes here on the flagship, which is understandable. And we have a real old school label, which I don't really like compared to the printed logo inside the Mizuno. So they have cut costs here, they have made some cheaper things, but the scarier, most important part is that every material used in this suit is identical to the materials used in the much more expensive flagship. So while you're not getting the bonded seams, you're not getting the double layer, you're not getting the taping, you aren't getting the silicone grippers on the legs, you do get identical materials for a quarter of the cost. As I said, 35 British pounds, that's like the equivalent of $50 US for this suit, and you really are getting the best materials in any suit out there, in my opinion, right now. And that to me is an absolute bargain and an absolutely awesome concept. While I know it is for a fact that they are using the same materials in this suit, what I did find odd is potentially the thickness is different, or something slightly different though, because this definitely holds water more than that, and the Mizunos are still, even after like 20 wears in that blue and black pair I have, they are dry within 10 minutes of me wearing, whereas these definitely stayed wet a lot longer after I've raced in them. Obviously, if we had to pour water on them, they still are perfect in terms of being a water repellent suit. As you can see here, both materials are equally amazing at being water repellent. But as I said, when I got out of the water, I just found like these held wetness a little bit longer than I'm used to. Maybe it's the seams, because in completely honesty, I mean, I know the material compositions are identical, and even like feeling them in comparison, they don't feel like one's thicker, one's thinner. I mean, they are the same materials, I'm not debating that in the slightest, but for some reason I feel like these stayed wetter longer. But as you can see there, they pass any sort of water repellency tests with flying colours, something you won't get in them cheap arena suit, Vino approved suits. So in terms of that, awesome stuff. So here's the suit on. This is the same medium size that I wear in the GX Sonic model. And as I said, the fit is very, very similar. The cut is the same. It comes a little higher on the navel than your traditional suits, but not up ridiculously like them super high-waisted ones. On the back again, sits a little higher, but comfortably, not digging in the wrong places. As I said before, I really like these suits because they sit above your hip bones, but not on them like certain suits do that are a little bit lower, but still a little bit higher than regular. And again, they don't come down too far on my knees, which I like. I don't like them when they overlap my knees. I like them sitting a couple of inches higher, just like this suit. In terms of the performance of this suit, at £35, at the asking price, or the reduced asking price you can now get from Amazon Japan, these are the biggest no-brainer I've ever seen. The performance is well and truly out, way above the level that the cost of these would suggest. That being said, they're obviously not on the same level as their flagship suit. Starting to actually break down the performance though, initially I really liked how I felt. I dived in when racing and I felt great, I felt fast, I felt a bit like I was moving forwards, that feeling you get with a good tech suit. And I feel like the tightness is great. The material is not too flexible. It has got a little bit of stretch to it. Not as tense and as tight as the Arena Carbon series, but it's still pretty tight. It's not on speed a laser level of sort of flexibility or looseness, should I say. So I think the compression was good. As my races went on, I think I've got a 200 freestyle playing right now, so you can see me racing that. Sorry about how much I died. It's not my best performance of all time, but that will get on to what I say. And I feel like if I was wearing the GX Sonic, I think their upkick and that extra buoyancy would have sort of kept me kicking and kept me going a little bit longer in the race, whereas
these didn't seem to have the same support, and I think they would suit me for sort of a 50 and 100 more than they would a 200 or a 400. I don't know, I think I'd like potentially a slightly bit more compression on a longer race, and definitely a little bit more upkick, buoyancy support, something that maybe the Finny's rival would have as well, but not these. Not much more to say about this suit. You've seen how close and how similar it is to the flagship model in terms of material. The material use is still better than a lot of suits, twice, triple, quadruple times the price. And in terms of what I'd actually use in a race, no, I'm never going to use it over the flagship, the GX Sonic, in a high level meet, but on a meet I'm maybe not tapered or rested for or shaven for, I would still see myself using this now over an Arena Carb Ultra, over any Speedo suits, over a big majority of suits actually, because the material is still so high quality. And yeah, well, obviously I'm not going to go ahead and say stitch seams are as ideal as bonded seams. Until 2008, when the Speedo Laser was launched, the full body Speedo Laser, no suits had bonded seams. The Arena suits didn't have bonded seams at the time. The previous Speedo suit, the FS Pro, full body and legs, had stitch seams just like this. So until 2008, suits didn't even have bonded seams, and I know it's become a bit of a norm now. Any top suit has bonded seams. I don't even mention it in my videos that they have bonded seams. I just sort of think it goes without saying, but yeah, I don't think stitch seams are going to make the be or end all. So in actual fact, this is a great material, a compressive material, a water repellent material, a material that feels fast in the water. It has a great cut, great coverage, and other than the fact it's got stitch seams, it is a flagship level quality suit from any other brand. So if this had bonded seams and had a price tag of £100, I'd still be saying it was a bargain. In fact, I don't see why you could go wrong buying this suit. I say a lot to the kids I coach, but they'd be better off having sort of 4 of this level suit than one of the best suit in the world. Because when you get to a meet, you want to be able to change suits for races, you want to be able to get out of a suit for swim down, you want to be able to use a dry suit for the next session. You don't want to just be putting on and off the same suit every time, wet, or leaving it on wet. So you'd actually get more performance over a weekend meet with 4 of these or 3 of these more sort of cheaper suits than you would just one absolutely awesome suit. And obviously they're going to last longer as well. And other than the stitch seams, durability of the material I know is great from the GX Sonic. So with that being said, I think these are a no-brainer suit. If you're younger and you want to get a cheaper suit, if you want just to have a nice range of suits, or you want a beater suit, or even if you want a suit for stand-ups in training, I think it's great putting a suit on in training if you're doing a lactate set or something, because nothing quite simulates the feeling of racing as wearing a hat and as wearing a jammer or a knee skin if you're a girl. It's not much more than, say, a funky brief for boys or a Jolene costume for girls. In fact, I think Jolene costumes for girls are more expensive than the knee skin version of this. So for stand-ups in training, if you're a bit older, or for a beater suit, or just because you want a good value suit, I can't recommend this highly enough. And as I said, I've ordered it here to Oman from Amazon Japan with absolutely minimal fuss. It comes in about 5 days. Shipping is dirt cheap, like an extra £3–4 pounds. There's really not much more to say than go get this suit if you need a new suit. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this will spark a little bit of fuss, and let me know what you think of the suit. Let me know if you're going to give the suit a go. Let me know what suit you want me to review in the future. Have a good Christmas. This will probably be my last video before Christmas. Have a good Christmas. Maybe you'll get a new tech suit. Let me know if you get a tech suit for Christmas. Thanks for watching. Check out the Instagram. I've got a Facebook page now, @the Swimsuit Guy. Instagram is @the Swimsuit Guy 95. See you later.